Stephen Hawking warns us not to talk to aliens, and he doesn't mean illegal aliens. The Discovery Channel is going to start airing a series by Stephen Hawking on Stephen Hawking's universe that begins on May 9th. As a prelude to this, there were a couple of articles in the paper about Hawking's views on aliens. And he believes that since there are so many galaxies and so many solar systems out there and so many planets, there has to be alien life forms. But with the aliens are out there and Earth had better watch out, at least according to Hawking. He has suggested that extraterrestrials are almost certain to exist, but that instead of seeking them out, humanity should be doing all that it can to avoid any contact. There are two parts to this. Let me go through the first part of all this. Hawking's logic on aliens is, for him, unusually simple. The universe, he points out, has 100 billion galaxies, each containing hundreds of millions of stars. In such a big place, Earth is unlikely to be the only planet where life has evolved. And he writes, "To my mathematical brain, the numbers alone make thinking about aliens perfectly rational. The real challenge is to work out what aliens might actually be like." And another scientist agrees with Hawking. Lord Rees, the astronomer royal, warned in a lecture earlier this year that aliens might prove to be beyond human understanding. "I suspect there could be life and intelligence out there in forms we can't conceive," he said. "Just as a chimpanzee cannot understand quantum theory, it could be there are aspects of reality that are beyond the capacity of our brains." So both Hawking and Rees conclude that because of the size of the universe and that there have to be life forms out there. In fact, there could be life forms out there that are so beyond our ability to understand that we have to be wary of them. Now, the first question I ask is this. If this is possible for alien life forms like us, or in some regard like us, who have evolved like us, then why is it so unusual and speculative to consider that God exists? If we can look at the vastness of the universe and conclude, without really any empirical evidence, other than what we have here on Earth, but we have no real empirical evidence that aliens most certainly exist based upon probability factors. And if those aliens exist, that their capability may be so far beyond our ability that we might be perceived to be a microbe in their universe. So now, if that's true, so why is it difficult to assume that God exists, who's far beyond us? In fact, the Bible itself says that God's thoughts are not our thoughts, are far, way, way beyond ours. And so scientists are pushing the envelope of credibility when, on the one hand, they push for this idea that there are most likely alien life forms out there, and alien life forms that are so much greater than us, then at the same time saying that there's no possibility that a God could exist. So hopefully something like this might push some of these scientists to reassess their views. Now, the other part of this, which I thought was interesting, is the fear factor regarding these aliens. Hawking goes on and he says, Hawking believes that contact with alien species could be devastating for humanity. He suggests that aliens might simply raid Earth for its resources and then move on. We only have to look at ourselves to see how intelligent life might develop into something we wouldn't want to meet. I imagine they might exist in massive ships, having used up all their resources from their home planet. Such advanced aliens would perhaps become nomads looking to conquer and colonize whatever planets they can reach. This, of course, has been the theme of the television series V. This is the reinstitution of this program. It was done, I think, back in the 1980s, and they're redoing it today, where aliens come to Earth and seem to be benefactors to Earth, and in reality what they're trying to do is use Earth's resources because on their planet there's a depletion of resources. They even start harvesting human beings in order to take them back to their home planet. and to use them as food. And so Hawking says, look, this is a distinct possibility. And then he concludes that trying to make contact with alien races is a little too risky. He said, if aliens ever visit us, I think the outcome would be much as when Christopher Columbus first landed in America, which didn't turn out very well for the Native Americans. Here's the question. In an evolutionary worldview, is it morally wrong? Would it be morally wrong for higher evolved life forms to come to our planet and to harvest human beings as a food source? We do it with lower animals. We kill cows and pigs and other types of animals, and we eat them. So would it be wrong for these alien life forms to do the same? In fact, you could go back to the Christopher Columbus illustration here, analogy, and say, was it wrong, given evolutionary assumptions, for Christopher Columbus and other explorers who came over here to enslave people? Where within the evolutionary worldview is this wrong? And this reminded me of a Twilight Zone episode that took place in, I think it was in 1953. To Serve Man was first appeared in the January 1953 issue of If magazine. And they were the Canaanites. This is how Rod Serling described the leader of the Canaanites, a Christopher Columbus from another galaxy and another time. And the show starts off with this alien race coming down to Earth and giving the Earthlings all of these benefits, increasing their food productivity, curing diseases, and so forth. And they come across a book. They're trying to really figure out who these people are. They come across a book called To Serve Man. And people are going on to the spaceships, and they want to visit the Canaanite planet, because it must be a great, great planet, because these people have all these great gifts. Well, of course, the Canaanites are fattening up the humans to take them back to their planets, and so that they can eat these inferior life forms. And so they find out that To Serve Man is actually a cookbook. And this is how Rod Serling ends the show. The recollections of one Michael Chambers, with appropriate flashbacks and soliloquy. Or more simply stated, the evolution of man, the cycle of going from dust to dessert, the metamorphosis from being the ruler of a planet to an ingredient in someone's soup. It's tonight's bill of fare from the Twilight Zone. And so this is the question I ask the evolutionists, who believe that we evolved from the slime, but we used violent tactics to oppress weaker biological entities. And so why is that wrong today? And this brings me to this final point. Philosopher Richard Rorty provided a good, thought-provoking moral experiment for a naturalistic, materialistic philosophy. Rorty challenges atheists to offer a compelling, satisfactory, naturalistic answer to the following. Aliens from another planet with vastly superior intelligence to humans land on Earth in order to consume humans as food. What argument could you make to convince the aliens not to eat us that would not also apply to our consumption of beef? And so that's my challenge to the evolutionists of our day. What is it that makes murder wrong? What is it that makes eating other human beings wrong, given your naturalistic, materialistic, atheistic worldview? There really is no basis for it. And so this dilemma that Stephen Hawking is seeing here is a reality in our own world today as we move further and further away from a Christian worldview. How do atheists really account for the moral worldview that they claim is so special? If an atheist were truly consistent with his worldview, could he ever come up with a proposition that killing inferior human beings is somehow wrong, morally wrong? They cannot. Atheists must borrow from the Christian worldview, the very worldview that they despise, in order to make the proposition true that killing other human beings is wrong.
For more related to this topic, check out God Is, How Christianity Explains Everything. You will find it at AmericanVision.com.